So let's jump to bioleaching. What is bioleaching? Bioleaching or biomining, also known, it is known as, is a process in mining and biohydrometallurgy as a natural process of interaction between the microbes and the minerals. It is used for the extraction of valuable metals from low-grade ore with the help of bacteria, microorganisms, and a few archaea as well. Leaching is a good technology for metal extraction from mineral oil and its concentrates. The high concentration of environmental metal is a major concern to environmentalists and health practitioners. Why? Because they constitute natural assaults, attacks, raids on human health as well as on the environment. Intercellular accumulation of metals are implicated for the generation of oxygen radicals, which is also known as reactive oxygen species, and exposure to arsenic, mercury, etc. They are linked to different health hazards and could be a reason for, could be a cause of a number of diseases. There are several techniques to used for the removal of heavy metals. However, recovery from minerals containing sulfides are based on totally based on the activity of chemolithotrophic bacteria and chemolithotrophic fungi, because they have the capacity to convert insoluble metal sulfides into soluble metal sulfates. This is why we say bioleaching has a great potential for metal recovery, for detoxification of industrial waste products, and also sewage sludge, and they could be used for soil remediation as well. Now, these are all the reasons why we say bioleaching techniques are more effective in traditional mining applications, and they are better in cleaning off mine tailing sites. Most of the metals that are extracted to bioleaching are, they include copper, gold, silver, cobalt, uranium, zinc, nickel, etc. Okay, these are the sources of heavy metals into our environment, but how do we use bioleaching? Most recently, what is bioleaching? It has emerged as a bioremediation tool for mopping heavy metal pollutions. The quantities of hazardous industrial waste, for example, fly ash, soot, and filter dust. These are produced worldwide, all around the world, due to the industrial boom. Because of the high concentration of these metals present in the environment, and these waste, they could be considered as artificial ores. And this is artificial ores, and they could serve as secondary raw materials, which in turn would reduce the demand for primary metal mining. Using bioleaching to remove metals from these industrial waste is detoxifying and helps in also improving the environmental quality. These industrial processes are also the roots how these metals enter our environment. For example, arsenic is coming from the pesticide, the wood preservative, the biosolids, ore mining, cadmium from the paints and pigments, stabilizer, phosphate fertilizer, food crops, chromium from tanneries, from steel industries, copper from pesticides, from fertilizers, ore mining, aluminium smelting, mercury from the coal consumption, cement production, fossil fuel consumption, medical wastes, of course, nickel from kitchen appliances, surgical instruments, batteries, of course, we know batteries, everything in today world is batteries, effluent, lead, plumbum from aerial emission of combustion of lead. You know, we use tetradiol lead and tetramethyl lead as anti-knocking agent in our petroleum, so that our cars' engines, they don't give these knocking sounds. It has been reduced to a drastic level these days, but still there are some in fuels. The batteries waste, of course, the insecticides and the herbicides. These are all industrial waste, they actually contribute by giving us heavy metals. So we call it anthropogenic sources into the sea, to the land, and to the populace. But this is not all. Nature also has a way to contribute and pollute our environment with heavy metals. For example, weathering of minerals, erosion and volcanic activities, forest fires, particles that are released by vegetation, and some other biological processes. How does the bioleaching process, when the bioleaching process is actually also known as redoxolysis. Redoxolysis means, why redoxolysis? Because it involves oxidations and reduction. So oxidation reduction we call redox. So oxidation and reduction reactions in the bioleaching is known as redoxolysis. Redoxolysis can be divided into two types: to direct redoxolysis and indirect redoxolysis, or direct bleaching and indirect biobleaching. Indirect mechanism, that in the direct mechanism of bioleaching or direct mechanism of bioredoxolysis, the bacteria leaches metal via redox reaction, where the metals are solubilized by enzyme reaction through a physical contact between the microorganisms and the leaching materials. So there is actually a direct enzymatic contact. The microorganisms are in physical contact with the leaching materials, and this physical contact actually becomes the reason of the destruction of the mineral. And the microorganisms can oxidize metal sulfides via direct mechanism with electrons obtained directly from the reduced minerals. What happens in the indirect? The microorganisms are not in indirect contact with the minerals during the process, but the leaching agent through which the leaching is performed is still coming from the microbes, and they are going to oxidize the ore. In the indirect mechanism, oxidation of this reduced metal is going to be mediated by iron 3 or an iron 3 ion, so the Fe3 plus ion, and this ferric ion will be formed by the microbial oxidation of ferrous ion, which is present in the ore, which is present in the minerals. So the ferric ion can act as an oxidant and oxidize the metal sulfides, and is reduced to ferrous ion, which can be oxidized through microbial formation, which in this case acts as an electron carrier. So at low pH values, roughly around 2 to 3, the bacterial oxidation of the ferrous ion is going to be rather faster than the chemical oxidation of the ferrous ion, which means in indirect bioleaching, the microorganisms are not in physical contact, but the leaching machinery, the leaching biomachineries are still coming from these microorganisms. This is the end of our second last lecture. We are left only with bioterrorism and biotransformation, two topics, which means in the next lecture, we will wrap up our biotechnology course. And then we will have a few quiz. So I will take one by one quiz, and all will be online. It was really a good journey with you guys, though wasn't intended like this. So I will see you in the next lecture, interactive session. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz.